Hello, 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 and welcome to yet another edition of the LPW show. I am your host for this edition. I am JPJ. I am here with a up-and-comer in the Canadian wrestling scene, an up-and-comer for Love Pro Wrestling, the future of professional wrestling. I am here with one son of Irish. First and foremost, my friend, how are we doing today?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you being here.
Okay.
We're going to kind of dive right into it. Obviously, love pro wrestling. New in the game when it comes to independent Canadian wrestling promotions. You've kind of been there since almost the beginning. You've been in most of the events. You've always had great matches in all these events. You've gotten the crowd. You've won over the crowd. The crowd's really behind you. But unfortunately, the sad truth is you've come up short in most of the matches. I just want to dive into your mentality and kind of how coming up short time and time again, like, does that affect your mentality going into the next match? Like, does it put more pressure on it? Does it put you on tilt? Like, oh damn, I gotta really get a big one here? Or do you just kind of stay your lane and kind of go match by match because like eventually, it'll come?
Honestly, man, I kind of just keep my head in the game. Winning or losing isn't really a thing to me because I'm there to have fun and to entertain my fans. And at the end of the day, it's more so about how much heart you have in the ring. And I think I've proven to everybody that I have a lot of heart when it comes to being in the professional wrestling business. So
Absolutely. I mean, you can tell that you lay it all out there during all your matches. Like you know, that I think that's why the Love Pro Wrestling crowd and just the Canadian wrestling scene in general has clung to you so new and like so fresh into your career, is because they see that effort and they see you come out and literally wear your heart on your sleeve and give you everything you got, even if it is coming up short sometimes. Like, they know that the effort is there and that you are gonna be the future of professional wrestling with your youth, and just you're gonna be around a while. So I don't think any of us are really worried about you getting W after W after W, because that's eventually just going to be on track of what we're seeing on Love Pro Wrestling. But coming up at LPW 6, Welcome to Paradise, you have quite the challenge ahead of you. You have one Jack Pride that you will be facing. Multiple personnel, kind of, how do you prepare? Now, he's been very open, and he was on the last episode. He said what we're going to be seeing at Welcome to Paradise is going to be Pride. But when you know that you're going up against somebody who kind of has that little bit of a split, where he can kind of flip a switch and get into, you want to call it crazy mode or hardcore mode or whatever you want to call it, like, how do you approach that as a performer when you know that you might be seeing different battles in one singular match?
this is actually a very good question, but I think after my match with Andy Anderson and showing everyone what I truly do have out there, Pride's just another person to me. So at the end of the day, the future is coming up and it's now. So
Oh, I love it. I love it. And like I did mention on the last episode of the LPW show, Pride was the guest. And he was asked, obviously, about your upcoming match. And he was, it was a little bit of good and bad. He was very complimentary. He did say that, your moniker, the future of pro wrestling, is probably more of a truth statement as opposed to a moniker. He said you put your, like you just said, he was very complimentary of like how hard you fight, all that. He said he's expecting a battle, but then he also said that he enjoys bringing the violence, and he's going to very much enjoy bringing the violence to you. Now, I know the big man is not with you right now currently, but he did say that he is very much looking forward to not only punching you in your face, but hopefully getting a chance to punch the big man in his face too. So what do you have to say about that? What do you have to do you have something you just want to say to Pride right now so he's aware of like what you're coming on Friday night at LPW 6, like what you're going to bring to the match and what you're looking to do to him during this match?
all I personally have to say to Pride is punching me in the face is fine, but bringing my old man into it, that's where you're crossing the line. And like I said, I'm just going to go into this match with an open mind and getting Pride, I guess. That's how it is. But I'm going to go in and do what I do best.
On a past episode of the Archer Report, you and Pride had a little bit of a, we'll call it a face-off of sorts, but in your last match in LPW, you had to physically be put to sleep to lose. You fought Andy Anderson, you went a half hour, you kicked out of his multiple finishing moves to the point where the only way that he could put you down for the victory was to literally put you to sleep. Pride was talking not so nicely about you and about your father in the Archer Report, saying your father was in the past, you're the future. And you kind of stepped up to him and you said, hey, I'm going to challenge you. How did the rest of that interaction go? What did you take offense to when it came to how Pride kind of, I'll say, kind of dismissed your challenge a little bit?
Again, like I said, bringing my dad into it, but not only that, laying your hands on him in front of me is a good one. Smacking me, I'm totally fine with it because, like we were talking about, you're going to get punched in the face in a wrestling match. So hitting me is fine, but laying your hand on my dad, that's a different story. So I'm kind of glad he walked off after that, because if he didn't, I definitely would have stepped up right there.
Now, being a performer, obviously I'm not one of those, but being a performer, you're going into a wrestling match, I'm assuming, I'm going to get punched in the face. It's a fight. This is what I'm doing. I'm fighting. But when he starts bringing family members into it and starts talking about, managers, family members, things like that, you're taking it to a different level. And I don't know if you have a history per se with Pride.
Jack used to be quite good friends, actually, until something happened with him and he went a little crazy.
All right. Well, this Friday, it is a match that I know I'm looking forward to tremendously. I think it should be, with the effort that you bring and what I've seen of the Pride version of Jack Pride, it should be a very violent, drag-out battle. Any last words you have for the Love Pro Wrestling community, what the people should expect when we tune in on Friday night, and for even possibly Pride himself?
All I got to say to my fans out there, thank you for supporting me and always having my back. And to Pride, I hope he does have the pride with him, because he's going to see his future early.